Hello, my loves. As always, it feels so good to be here with you. In case we're new to one another, my name is Dani Kenney. I'm a certified life and business coach dedicated to helping you master your energy and your mindset so that you can make more money, so that you can make a bigger impact and create not only a business, but an entire life that you love. I'm getting settled here in my backyard in case you missed it. We moved recently. I feel like I say that a lot, but I know that nowadays not everybody sees all the things, and you might be seeing this and you might be like, what the heck, you moved? Where'd you move to? We moved to San Diego. So say hello as you're joining. I'm going to get this shared to a couple places where I know it is going to be appreciated. Say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from. I would love to come back and show you a little bit of love once we wrap this up. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. If I didn't already say that, hi, Lori. I'm going to do something here. Our backyard is amazing. It's like one of my favorite things about the house. Do you guys want to see it really quick? I have it on like a filter, so it's going to be kind of blurry, but it's literally like our own little slice of paradise, our own little slice of heaven. Fun fact, we live on a street called Valhalla. I feel so silly. I did not know what that word meant. Do you know what that word means? Valhalla. So when we were in the process of buying our house, somebody wanted to see it. We also bought it sight unseen. Like we had seen it online, but we were not living anywhere. We weren't living driving distance. My husband had come down for the inspection, but I didn't see it until we had already owned it for several days. But I wanted to show somebody our house. They were asking about it when we were in escrow. And so instead of typing in the address, because I was just bringing up like Zillow, I forgot to type the actual numbers and I just typed the word Valhalla, which like was not a mistake. It was a divine redirection. And hi, Nicolette. Just getting my mosquito repellents going. So it was a divine redirection because as soon as I typed Valhalla, Google brought up the meaning of Valhalla, which is heaven. And then I immediately started crying when I realized that our potential forever home, or where we're going to be for the long foreseeable future, was literally on a street that translates to heaven. So literally our own little slice of heaven, which I think is really cool. But we have a mosquito issue, so this is what we're doing together. Anyways, just settling in. What I want to talk to you today about doesn't have a whole lot. It kind of does have a little bit to do with what I was teeing us up with there, just kind of catching you up. But I want to talk to you about change. And change can come in many forms, but specifically what happens when we want to change our habits, like what we're doing every day. And this is important to be aware of what you're doing every day, because what you do every day is essentially what's creating your life. And I always say that the quality of your habits determines the quality of your life. So this is something that I preach and I do my absolute best to embody and practice. But if I'm being completely honest, the last several months, hi Jackie, the last several months I have to be careful how I say this, because the last few weeks I have been on it. Jackie, can you hear me all right? I don't typically use these headphones, but since I'm outside, I wanted to use connected headphones instead of the Bluetooth ones. So let me know if you guys can hear me all right. With the move and traveling and getting my kiddos settled, like honestly, we were in a little bit of survival mode just because there was so much change and so much transition at once that making sure my kids were settled and my kids were well was really my top priority. And I think that one way that our kids are well and the best adjusted is when mom is taken care of. But if we're can we be really real with each other? Hi, Rayanne. There's only so many hours in a day. I was going to say days in an hour, all jumbled here, but there's only so many hours in a day. And I really had to prioritize on making sure that they were okay. And so there was a good chunk of time there. I feel so bad. This is not a pity party, but just like showing myself so much love. There was almost 2 months there where like I was really letting myself slip. Like I was not eating very well. I was not prioritizing sleep. I was not prioritizing movement. I'm somebody who I've invested a lot of time and money and energy in learning and researching the way that I'm designed and how I thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally. And even when you know those things, I always say, like, knowing something doesn't make a difference. You actually have to do something with that knowledge. You have to put it into action. Can I get an amen? Yes. And so there was a period of time when we were in straight up survival mode where I felt like I was doing the bare minimum for me. So, which like was nothing, so that I could really care for my littles who like can't do certain things for themselves. They need their mama bear. And I don't know about you, but very quickly, like I started to feel how well or how not well I was. And it wasn't necessarily like super sick. I was just really sluggish, honestly, like slipping into a little bit of like a self-imposed depression. Yeah, that, you know, creating that like really heavy internal and external experience, and then being fully aware that like you're the one doing it. Have you ever been there? That's kind of tough to admit or to face. And that was absolutely me. So anyway, I started a couple of weeks ago. I noticed that I do really well when I track the things that matter, and ignore the dog barking in the background, my little yappy chihuahua. When I track the things that matter most, because I stick to it. Like I am super competitive, and I'm really competitive like with myself. And, you know, as cliche as it sounds, like your only competition is the version is you, the version you were yesterday, the version you were last week, the version you were last month, last year, so on and so forth. And I like really take that to heart. And so I decided to get a new habit tracker, which I love. It's literally just called Habit Tracker app, and it's free for like 3 or 4 habits. I have like 10-ish set up right now. So I decided to upgrade for a whopping $3.49 a year. I actually really love it. And so I've been really mindful of doing the things that I know make me feel my best, but also move the needle forward in my business and all of the other areas of life that matter most. So all of that prep to get to what I want to share with you. I feel like some of my best content, my best ideas, and I actually don't even share them that often, they come from like honestly really silly conversations that I have with my husband, with my significant other. And so last night, I was right here is our kitchen sink. And so we were inside. I was at the kitchen sink. I was like rinsing off dishes, and we were together like cleaning up the kitchen and filling the dishwasher. And I looked at him and I was like, I'm really tired. And he's like, okay. And I was like, I've been making really good choices. Like every day for the last consecutive days, I've been making really good choices for myself. And he's like, okay. So what you're trying to say is making really good, healthy choices is exhausting? And the way he said it and like the look on his face, and I kind of laughed and I was like, yeah, totally. And my mind kind of sat with that thought like for the rest of the night, and it sat with it throughout the day today. And I brought this up on one of my programs, actually like my favorite program of all time, because it's where I spend the most amount of my time in my business, with the women inside of Magnetic Business Academy. And so what I was sharing with them is, you know, prioritizing sleep and moving my body and getting sunshine and tracking my macros. You don't have to do all of these things to be successful, by the way. Like these are things that I know work really well for me, but getting back into the habit of doing those things regularly, it honestly actually is exhausting, which is like a little bit ironic because these are things that pretty soon here I know are actually going to energize me. But the reason that change, and there's so many different kinds of change, but specifically for this conversation, we're talking about habit change. And the fact of the matter is, changing your habits can be, and honestly typically is, pretty hard. Especially if you're doing it in the way that I am, where I'm implementing a lot of new habits and having the expectation that I'm going to do them fairly consistently. Like some habits I'm tracking Monday through Friday, so 5 days a week. Some habits I'm tracking every single day, like non-negotiables, no matter what day of the week it is, Saturday and Sunday. Yup, that counts. When you do it that way, it actually is really hard. And here's why. It takes conscious effort. You have to think about it, right? The beautiful thing about a habit is once it becomes a habit, it's second nature and you don't have to think about it anymore. So all of these things that I'm doing where I'm like opening up my app and I'm tracking it and I'm moving throughout the day and I'm like, oh, I haven't done that thing I said I was going to do. That takes mental effort. And that actually is exhausting. There is a mental load. There is a mental labor. There is additional decisions that I get to make. And I don't remember the exact statistics here, so I'm going to give you the gist of it. And I know that it's going to land. I know that it's going to make sense for you. But I remember listening, maybe it was Atomic Habits. For some reason, I don't think it was. But it was like a book like that, about habits and productivity and like living your best life and being your best self. And this one individual said how like the majority of our best work, and you can consider yourself a night owl, but the majority of like our best work and our ability to do the things that we say we're going to do, it's more than likely going to be like in the first half of the day, because by the time we hit the middle of the day, there can often be a little bit of decision fatigue or awareness fatigue where like our brain, without us even realizing it, is going to go on autopilot. It's going to check out and we're going to be relying. And this is not a bad thing, but it's the way that our body is meant to help us and preserve our energy. And so we kind of go on autopilot and we start operating from our unconscious, which again, isn't like a good thing or a bad thing. It's the way that we're wired for efficiency. But the slippery slope comes in where at the end of the day, then you like stop making the good choices. You binge eat, or you spend hours scrolling, or you watch like one Netflix episode that then turns into like 4 or 5 and now it's midnight, and then you wake up the next day and you don't feel very well, and then it's like this perpetual cycle. Can anybody else relate to this? Like, hi, it's me. And so bits and pieces of like, I mean, there's so many other little nuances here, and I'm wondering like how this manifests for you, but there's bits and pieces of what I just shared there where I was like, this is a hard no. Like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And so the last several days of, and it's been weeks, honestly, like weeks of slowly implementing, being mindful of what I'm eating, less sugar, more protein, being conscientious of these little things. But it's really been the last couple of days where I've been on it really consistently with more new habits than before, right? So like there was this gradual working up to it, and I'm exhausted, and that's okay. I'm exhausted, and I'm not going to let that be a reason to stop, because I know that if I move through this and I allow myself to bring in that, yes, extra effort to make sure I'm doing the things, to make sure that the end of the day doesn't come without me completing doing the things that I promised myself I would do, like that feels really good. I deserve to feel that way. You deserve to feel that way. And so I just wanted to speak to that I get it. I get that change is hard. I get that it can be so much easier, like once you've taken care of the bare minimum for you, and you've taken care of the people, and you've taken care of your clients, and you've done the things in your business, and you check the boxes on your calendar, that it can be really easy to slip into negative patterns, to just go on autopilot and not think about it. I totally get how easy that is. But if your current version of unconsciousing, like your current version of autopilot, is not really supportive things that are going to compound in helping you feel your absolute best, then you deserve to choose something else. You deserve to align with a new way of operating and moving through your day. And so it's okay. It's okay if it's exhausting. It's going to be. We're retraining our minds. We're retraining our bodies. And so if you're in this season, or maybe You've been in your own season where you're tired of being, you're tired of being tired. You're tired of your own crap, right? And you're like, okay, Dani, I'm going to do this. Do it. And then when it gets hard, don't stop. Don't slip. Don't go back to that old pattern, that old way of being. Come back and watch this video. Save this video. Send me a message. I would love to cheer you on. I would love to be a part of your journey. And wrapping up there too, what I'm doing for myself, I know to do this for myself because this is what I do for my clients. This is what I've been doing for the last decade. And there used to be a version of me that was like afraid to share publicly that like, oh, I'm not taking the absolute best care of myself in this season of life. But guess what? I'm a human being. Things are going to get busy. I'm going to have to kick into survival mode. I've got 3 little kids to care for. I'm no different than any other human in that way. And so I absolutely get it. And this month, there's some really incredible ways that we can work together. If you haven't checked it out, Momentum, the 4-week experience, we're only going to do the $88 Momentum email course for another like week and a half, and then it's gone. It's gone. So definitely jump into that if you haven't checked it out. There are some really awesome group coaching opportunities as well as one-on-one opportunities. You can book a one-off session, which I don't typically do, a one-off session with a week of extra unlimited voice and text support, as well as some longer-term one-on-one coaching support. So feel free to check that out. I have it posted all across my different social media platforms. If you don't know where to find the information and you want it, send me a message and I will personally deliver it to you. I love you. Let me know what's coming up for you. Let me know what landed for you. And change can be hard, but it's worth it. You're worth it. So stick with it. I love you. Mwah.